A towering structure stands amidst swirling storms of lightning and fire. Piles of skeletons lie scattered on the ground. A phoenix thrashes within blazing flames, causing the silver-haired man to charge forward with determination, while a muscular man prepares to strike beside a blue-haired woman, readying her weapon. The group unleashes a powerful combined attack against the fiery beast. The massive phoenix then cloaked in flames as it descended to the ground. The three of them also descended to the ground as they looked at the fallen phoenix. The man smiled proudly, having to defeat the guardian. His comrade's face dimmed as if planning something. He turned his head and looked at them in shock as the blade surged towards him. They loomed over him with a cold expression as the blade pierced through his chest, causing him to wince in pain. He then falls on the ground, questioning their betrayal. The woman smirked through their plan as she called him Migo. The masculine man added that Migo was too strong and killing him makes them enjoy the power, while their hand stretches to cast him aside. Migo then fell to the fallen phoenix with a wincing face. His eyes narrowed as he cursed them. The two of them then lunged forward to strike as they realized that Migo isn't dead yet. The monstrous phoenix, cloaked in blazing fire, descends from above, causing Migo to be engulfed with flames. His comrades halted in shock, realizing that the phoenix isn't dead yet. A massive explosion then engulfed the whole battlefield. Migo shouted at them in rage, vowing to make them pay for what they did. The fire then engulfed his whole body, leaving only his silhouette. A system notification popped up, indicating the change of the character's fate as it loads. 300 years later, at the massive martial arts academy, a blonde teacher stood tall in front, telling how the 9 black towers fell and the monsters invaded humanity. In the light of hope, martial artists were born and suppressed the monsters to protect humanity. The teacher grabbed the black cloth to show them the beast. A lowest-rank hyena growled inside the cage as it faced them. The students were surprised while the others found it disgusting, causing the beast to roar angrily and scared them. The teacher then smiled and asked them about the beast's weakness. The students looked confused and complained about not remembering it. They then got confused upon hearing someone snore from a distance. It caught the teacher's attention as she exclaimed in surprise. The students looked back, seeing their classmate lean over the tree. It was Migo, who was peacefully sleeping at the back, causing the teacher to shout his name in rage. Her voice echoed, asking Migo if he was tired of living. Migo's eyes suddenly opened wide. He clenched his fist and gritted his teeth as if ready to fight. He raised his hand in confusion, asking where he was, while the others looked at him. He cupped his head, remembering that he died at the self-obstructed phoenix. Migo then realized that he had been reborn after 300 years. He smirked at the thought of God giving him a chance. His eyes glowed in determination to get his revenge on Wang and Wan. Meanwhile, the teacher lunged forward for a strike, causing him to bulge his eyes out in surprise. Her pointed heels hit his face, sending him flying to the nearby tree, while the others looked at him. The teacher gritted her teeth in rage due to him sleeping in her class. Migo falls to the ground as his classmates murmur that their teacher, Harry, has a violent temper. Their lips formed a mocking smile, calling him trash for having a low chance of being a martial artist. Migo got up in confusion, prompting him to realize that the body he is in had class. His eyes widened as something caught his attention. He was disappointed upon seeing that it was a low-rank beast. Their class representative Yuna called out Harry and explained that Migo's family condition is not good. Kian, the purple-haired guy, smiled mockingly while asking Yuna for her good deed. He then looked back, saying that if Migo fails the exam he would be expelled. Harry commands them to stop. She then grabs her whip and tells Migo that he was still her student. With a dim expression, she asked Migo about the weak points of Hyena while threatening him. His classmates mocked and laughed at him from the back while he stayed silent. Yuna stepped up and told Harry that the consequence was too much. Harry turned around, angrily asking her if she was teaching her to be a teacher. Yuna looks down while Kian looks at her with a dim expression and confusion. Meanwhile, Migo arrogantly told them that he knew its weak points a long time ago. In his previous life, he slaughtered 18 groups of hyenas to train his swordsmanship. His classmates mocked him, telling that he was just boasting. Harry looked at him and ordered him to mention each weak point. She leaned closer and pointed her whip, threatening him if he got it wrong. Migo smiled and raised his hand while telling that hyenas have 4 weak points. Harry was shocked upon knowing that Migo knows the 4th one. His classmates burst into laughter and mock him. Yuna looked at him worriedly and whispered that hyenas only have 3 weak points. Migo grabbed his nape in confusion as he couldn't believe that the book missed the 4th one. Kian pointed at him and said that hyenas' weak points are throat, belly, and eyes only. He then called him trash, daring to question the teaching materials. He stepped forward and called Harry to give Migo a punishment for his actions. Migo crossed his arm confidently as Harry didn't say anything while mocking Kian. With a commanding tone, Harry told them to stop. Kian showed a mocking wide grin as he pointed at Migo to follow the order. But then, Harry turned around in rage and told Kian that it was him who should shut up. She then got back to Migo and asked what was the fourth weak point he mentioned. Migo smiled and said that it was simple, but then he got cut off. The hyena looked at them with glaring eyes. Its cage then began shaking as it growled. Migo noticed it, thinking that there was something wrong with the hyena. The beast then suddenly broke the cage, causing Harry to look back in shock. The hyena suddenly lunged towards the group of students, causing them to panic and run. It descended in front of the Kian, who was stunned in place. He then rushed ahead and grabbed Yuna's shoulder for his cover. The hyena then darted forward to launch an attack towards Yuna. Harry's expression dimmed as she called out for Yuna in fear. The latter cursed in fear as the hyena's gaping jaw nearly hit her head, while a foot suddenly rushed forward. It was Migo, saving and carrying Yuna out of the hyena's reach. He then gritted his teeth and pointed his glowing fingers at the hyena. His fingers hit the hyena's head, causing it to halt mid-air as it felt the pressure. He brought down Yuna as the hyena fell to the ground lifelessly. He then smiled confidently, telling everyone that the hyena's fourth weak point is its eyebrow. Migo looked at Yuna and asked if she was alright, in which she affirmed with gratitude. Yuna's cheeks flushed, thinking that Migo's chest provides safety. Migo stood before the lifeless hyena, wondering why it was able to destroy the cage despite being the weakest. His eyes went sharp, thinking that it was a bit strange. A light tendril suddenly appeared on the hyena's forehead, causing Migo to look in shock as it went directly at him. A system notification appeared above him and announced that he obtained 1 chi blood. He then touched it in surprise. He clenched his fist with a smile, realizing that he can increase his chi in killing the beast. His classmates were surprised upon witnessing him killing the hyena in 1 hit. Harry sat beside the lifeless hyena, thinking that Migo's mere finger could crush its skull. She turned her glance at Migo and wondered what more he was hiding. Her students worriedly asked her if the hyena is already dead, prompting her to stand up and assure everyone. She then told everyone that Migo was right about the weak point, but the lesson belongs to the high rank. She tapped Migo's shoulder and told him that he will receive bonus points for doing well. Migo then smiled in response and thanked her. The students were surprised upon hearing their teacher. The other retaliated and said that Migo just got lucky this time around. Migo's girl classmates were now drooling over him for being stronger than Kian. The latter gritted his teeth and clenched his fist in rage. He then raised his hand with a twisted face, pretending that he wasn't scared. He bragged about the hyenas being raised in their house to guard. He took a step at the hyena's lifeless body, bragging that he could kill it just like Migo because his chi is greater than him. Their classmates laugh at him, knowing that he is just boasting. Yuna cupped her forehead in disbelief, while the other girls mocked Kian. Kian burst out in rage, telling his classmates that he will prove it to them. He opened the hyena's mouth and put his head inside of it, prompting the girl to cover their faces in disgust. Harry called him out, telling him to stop fooling around. Migo crossed his arms, thinking that he would teach Kian a lesson for ridiculing him. He casually flicks a small rock between his fingers. The rock strikes incredible force as it slammed into the hyena's head. The jaw suddenly falls, trapping Kian's head inside its mouth. He tossed around and wet his pants while asking everyone to save him. Harry and the other students stared blankly, deeming him an idiot. Kian pants heavily with his tongue out, realizing that it was a false alarm. Harry covered her mouth, ordering Kian to take a shower and change his pants. The students laugh at him and mock him for peeing on his pants, prompting him to run away from the scene. Migo heaves a sigh, hoping that Kian won't have nightmares because of what happened. The tall school building stands under the sky. The voice echoed as the school ended. The students walk outside the gate. Some are even inviting others to the new cafe. Kian worriedly waited for Yuna outside with a flower on his back. Yuna suddenly appeared, walking elegantly outside. Kian took his chance and called her out, prompting her to turn around and ask him. He bowed down and offered her the flower while apologizing for what happened. He smiled widely and invited her for a date at the new cafe. Yuna hesitantly waved her hand and told him that she will accept only the apology. Kian was about to answer, but Migo suddenly caught Yuna's attention. She turned her back and bid her goodbye, walking away from the scene. Yuna caught up with Migo and instantly thanked him for saving her. She cheerfully asks if he is free and invites him to the newly opened cafe at the Hero Plaza. Migo gazed at her and told her that he had something else to do. Yuna still asked when he would be free, which he answered unsure. Kian's eyes narrowed as he gritted his teeth in rage. His grip tightened as he watched the two of them walk together. Migo went to Hero Plaza, witnessing Wang and Wan's statue in the middle. A bunch of flowers were seen, considering it as a tribute to their so-called hero. Wang and Wan became humanity's heroes as they saw them as the one who defeated the Phoenix. Migo watched the civilians happily talking about the two. He smiled bitterly, remembering the betrayal that the two had made. With his sharp eyes, he swore to reveal the true colors of their so-called heroes. He then walked away when someone ordered to follow him. It was Kian, ordering his men to attack Migo in the alley. Migo walks inside the dark alley, unaware of danger that awaits him. He was thinking about how hard it is to find a beast in the inner city. Two different shoes stepped forward. Kian's two men blocked his way while calling him arrogant. The curly-haired guy with beasts on his back threatened him. Migo was confused and asked who they were. Kian suddenly showed up on the bunch of men and asked why Migo was alone. The latter turned around and asked if Kian brought him trouble again. Kian pointed him in rage, telling that his hatred won't go away if Migo wasn't crippled. Migo's expression dimmed, repeating what Kian had said while calling his men trash. The guy's face became twisted, calling Migo a weakling for having 10 chi. Kian's men rushed forward simultaneously, eager to teach Migo a lesson while he stood in the middle unfazed. Kian laughs maniacally, swearing to make Migo worse than trash. Migo's eyes glow in rage, throwing and defeating Kian's men in a swift move while landing perfectly on the ground. He then stood confidently in the middle of the defeated men. Kian and the guy stared at him with twisted faces as they couldn't believe what happened. Migo clenched his fist with a smile and told Kian that his men can't cripple him. Kian nervously told him not to get cocky because he wasn't finished yet. He ordered the guy to release the hyena, in which he followed. The guy arrogantly dared Migo to kill the hyenas as he let go of the chains. The hyenas roared as the mouthpiece fell. They instantly surged toward to prepare an attack. Kian grinned widely, telling that the hyenas were trained professionally. Migo stood unfazed, not minding the hyenas that were approaching. He then let out a chuckle, telling that all hyenas are no different while preparing to strike. He ran towards the hyenas as if welcoming them. He then jumped and deliberately pointed his fingers on their forehead. He landed to the ground while the hyenas fell lifelessly in an instant. Kian was taken aback in disbelief, witnessing an instant kill again. The guy was surprised as he knew that Migo wasn't still a martial artist, but took down his strongest hyena in an instant. The system prompt popped up and announced the additional chi, while Migo clenched his fist proudly. Kian realized how strong Migo is and tried to sneak away from the scene. But then Migo showed scarily on his back, telling Kian that it is his turn now. Kian went alarmed as he was scared to face Migo. The latter then suddenly kicked his private part, causing him to bulge his eyes out. Kian was sent flying and screaming while holding his front. The guy looked at Kian in horror as he couldn't believe what happened. Migo then faced him, telling that he heard about the hyena gang. He asked if the guy had more hyenas, in which the guy scaredly answered. The guy suddenly burst out, telling him that the hyena gang is the biggest gang in Changxi. Migo ordered him to shut up and punch him directly in the face. He then commanded the poor guy to take him to their gang. He grabbed his head and threatened to torture him if he kept yapping. In the town of Changxi, the two of them walked over the place. The guy pointed to the door in front of them, telling him that it was their base. Migo smiled and ordered him to go now, prompting the guy to ask in surprise. Being confident, Migo told him that he will find the boss and will have a chat with him. Meanwhile, two hyenas were battling with one another. A loud noise echoed in the small ring as the gamblers bet on their preferred hyena, while someone was watching from above. The old man suddenly asked where their third brother brought the hyenas. His assistant then told him that their young master wanted to teach a kid a lesson and brought them over. His brows furrowed, telling that the third brother is getting bad recently. The door suddenly burst open as someone kicked it from the outside. The gamblers turned their backs in surprise while a silhouette was standing behind the smoke. It caught the old man's attention, prompting him to ask who it was. Someone then took a step forward. It was Migo, introducing himself and asking who was the leader of the hyena gang. The old man called out Migo's name, telling that it sounds familiar. His assistant then reminded him that Migo was the one their third brother is after. The old man then puffed his cigarette, thinking that it was indeed him. He then asked Migo why he was alone and where their third brother was. Migo smiled confidently as he noticed that the old man was the gang's leader. Migo grinned, telling that the old man was mistaken as he couldn't be captured and came there on his own. The old man reacts in confusion, asking Migo why. The latter pointed at him, telling that he wanted to help them kill the hyenas. He revealed that private animal fighting is forbidden and offered to help them clean the evidence. The gang members mocked him, telling that he came to seek beating. The members laughed, asking where he got the courage to kill all the hyenas. The old man then cursed and ordered his members to cripple Migo's legs and throw him out. The members answered gladly as they prepared their bats to strike. They then surged towards Migo, aiming their weapons while he stood unfazed. The fight then started as the old man turned his back as he told Migo was just wasting his time. His gang members were sent flying all over the place, causing him to stop in shock. He then turned around in surprise and asked what was happening. Migo clenched his fist, telling that he only came to help them, but they retaliated. The members were now scared as they realized that Migo was strong, despite being a student. The cigarette then fell to the ground, and was stepped on by the old man. His eyes went sharp as he arrogantly told Migo to kill all the hyenas. With a twisted face, he ordered them to release all the hyenas. The members were taken aback as the hyenas walked forward, while the others cheered for Kai, the old man and the hyenas. The beasts lunged forward to the confident Migo. His eyes glowed with determination. As he leapt above, he kicked the two mere hyenas in one swift move, sending them to the ground. The onlookers' jaws dropped as they witnessed an instant kill from Migo. Red energies went directly to Migo as he acquired another keyas from the lifeless hyenas. The assistant worriedly asked Kai of what their plan was, prompting Kai to curse in rage as he ordered them to release all the hyena. The members rushed forward as they followed his request. The cage opened, and all the hyenas went directly surrounding Migo. The latter smirked confidently as it finally got interesting. A minute later, he was fighting over the pack of hyenas with his dog-beating technique. A few more minutes had passed. He was still fighting over the hyenas and tossing them mid-air. Half an hour later, the hyenas were now scared and tried to escape, but he chased after them. Kai's jaw dropped as he witnessed how Migo defeated it all. The system prompt popped up, showing his increased chi, while he stood proudly in the midst of the defeated hyena. He then stepped on its head, while the onlookers were flabbergasted. Migo arrogantly asked if it was the end as he was just warming up. He grinned and ordered Kai to let out more hyenas for him. Kai became furious, telling him not to get cocky because he could defeat him with his underlings. He then pointed his finger and commanded them to fight Migo together. After a moment of silence, no one came out. He then turned back in confusion, asking where they were. His underlings then ran away from the fight, telling that they weren't brainless to fight a monster. Kai cursed them furiously because of their blatant betrayal. Migo suddenly appeared on his back, causing him to sweat in fear. He was taken aback and asked what Migo wanted to do. The latter smiled and asked him where he could get more hyenas and other beasts. Kai pointed at him furiously, telling that he won't reveal even if he died. Migo grins menacingly while clenching his hands together. Suddenly, a chaotic explosion of dark energy bursts outward. After getting bruised, Kai revealed that they bought the hyenas at Eclipse Arena. Migo's eyes narrowed, remembering he often goes to it in the past. He then asked when the arena opened and who's their boss. Kai told him that it opens every weekend and he doesn't know the boss. Migo then leans forward while tapping his shoulder, telling that Kai will bring him there. Kai was shocked as he repeated what Migo had said. Migo turned around and asked if he's not willing, in which Kai hesitantly told that it was for members only. Migo coldly reveals that Kai has had a wound for more than 10 years, causing Kai to ask in shock. He then confidently told Kai that he knew how to cure it. Migo ordered Kai to prepare the things he needed, prompting Kai to point him in shock as he knew that it was the materials alchemists use. Kai's underlings also look at them in shock as they know alchemists are rare, because they can create a potion that turns a normal human into a martial artist. Kai then suspected that Migo is an alchemist, but he was a bit confused. Migo then followed up that he will only give Kai a minute to gather everything, prompting Kai to suddenly rush and prepare everything he needed. Kai grinned widely, thinking that his luck might change if he had Migo backing him. Inside the clean room, the two of them stood face to face with ingredients on the table. Kai happily told him that he prepared all the things that Migo had said. The latter responded while examining the ingredient. He then tapped the table and ordered the ingredients to rise. Blue energy formed above him as he chanted a reaction formula. Kai's jaw dropped as he knew that only an alchemist could learn that formula. He grinned widely, knowing that he could be rich with the alchemist. A blue liquid forms on Migo's hand, prompting him to smile in success. Kai pointed to the blue liquid that was above Migo's palm, asking if it was the medicine. Migo then stretches his body, telling that it has been a long time since he made a grade 3 recovery liquid. Kai looks in shock, knowing that grade 3 medicine is 1,000 gold. Migo ordered him to open up as he pointed his fingers, prompting Kai to open his mouth. The medicine went directly on his mouth, gulping it in. He then looks at his hand while glowing in blue energy. His eyes widened in happiness while holding his body as his wound instantly healed. Kai then knelt down, swearing to do everything Migo asked him to repay what he had done. Migo boredly told him that he doesn't have to do all those. He then walked away and told him to just let him enter the arena this weekend. Kai suddenly followed him and asked if he could send him. Meanwhile, at the busy marketplace, someone's voice echoed while selling. A girl with pigtails was happily selling rat skewers. An old man then asks the girl named Yuri if his big brother hasn't come back. She then answered that she had no idea while busy selling. The buyer then mocked her brother, Migo. She angrily stole the rat skewer and told the buyer to shut up. The buyer waved his hand, telling that he's just joking. While Yuri was furiously mad, a guy suddenly pushed aside the buyer angrily, causing Yuri to be alarmed. The guy with his underlings then asked Yuri for a stall position fee. Yuri was surprised and told them that she already paid early for this month. The guy admitted that they had to pay 3 times a month but gave them a discount because of Migo. Yuri was afraid, asking for a few more days because she had no money. The guy loomed over her, telling that they can't do that. He then grabbed her shoulder and asked her to pay with her body. The old man offered to lend some money to Yuri, but the guy suddenly kicked his stomach and told him to mind his own business. The old man landed to the ground, causing Yuri to call him out worriedly. The onlookers were afraid as they witnessed the scene. The guy touched Yuri's hair and told her to come with him obediently. Yuri retaliated, telling that she'd rather die than be with them. The guy grinned maniacally and raised his hand, prompting Yuri to scream in horror. A pointed stick suddenly surged past, throwing the guy's hand back as it pierced through it. He then shouted in pain while holding his hand. Yuri turned her face and looked at the person on her back. It was Migo, who was eating skewers while being relieved that he came in time. The guy panicked and told his underlings to quickly remove the skewer on his hand. They noticed that the skewer was so deep while the guy turned purple in pain. The onlookers were surprised, telling that he suddenly became strong. Yuri called his big brother while Migo confidently told her not to thank him. She then jumped cheerfully and asked why she would thank him. Yuri suddenly examined his body, confused as to why he suddenly became strong. Migo faked a cough and told Yuri not to be excited because he wasn't still a martial artist. Yuri's eyes became teary, thinking that he didn't become a martial artist. The guy stood and cursed Migo for being arrogant, prompting them to look at him. The guy recovered, eager to teach Migo a lesson. Yuri panicked and told her brother to run away because he was no match for them. The guy's face became twisted and told his underlings to stop Migo. The underlings quickly rushed forward and surrounded the siblings. The guy grinned widely and threatened Migo while holding a dagger. Yuri suddenly shielded Migo, telling that she would come with them. The guy's eyes went sharp, saying that it's too late. He then smiled widely, telling that he wouldn't kill Migo. He maniacally licked the blade, telling his awful plan. Migo's fist suddenly surged towards his face, sending him flying mid-air as he winced in pain. His 2 underlings were shocked, witnessing their big brother being defeated. Migo's eyes glowed in rage, threatening the scumbags in front of him. Yuri asked him in confusion as she knew he was not a martial artist. Migo smiled and told her that he's not far on becoming one. He caressed her head while apologizing and vowing that he will protect her. Yuri's eyes become teary as she smiles and acknowledges him. The guy recovered and sat down, complaining about his handsome face. Being furious, he ordered his underlings to kill Migo. The 2 of them then loomed over Migo, asking how he wanted to die. Migo smirked arrogantly and called them mere clowns. In a swift motion, the 2 were now lying on the ground, causing their master to bulge his eyes out. Migo's eyes glowed in rage as he clenched his fist. He stood before the guy, telling that it was now his turn. The guy confidently told him that the hyena gang is backing him, prompting Yuri to stop her big brother as they cannot provoke them. The onlookers suddenly rushed towards them while also stopping him. Migo set them aside and asked the guy if his boss was really Kai. The guy grinned widely and arrogantly asked if Migo is regretting it now. He then pointed at Migo with a wide smile, but he was cut off by Kai, who excitedly rushed towards Migo with snacks. Kai offered him the snacks and told that he will buy him again if he lacks some. The guy suddenly called Kai in disbelief while asking what's going on. The onlookers were also surprised by his attitude towards Migo. Kai suddenly realized the situation. Migo pointed in front, telling that he was ready to eliminate the bully of his sister. Kai angrily stepped forward, telling that he would take care of the bully. He was taken aback when Migo mentioned that because of his backing, the guy could do it. Kai suddenly pointed to himself in confusion, asking him again. He rushed towards Migo nervously, asking him to listen to his explanation. The guy interrupted and introduced himself as Goro, the leader of the second dog gang. He rushed to hug Kai's legs and pleaded to spare him. His eyes went sharp in sudden realization that Migo has a relationship with Kai. The civilians were shocked upon hearing the increase of fee. They all look at Migo while wanting to ask him for help. Goro smiled widely, asking Kai about his opinion. The latter angrily slapped his face and told him to shut up. He went furious, telling that Goro is no longer related to the hyena gang. Goro lies on the ground, trembling while Kai apologizes to the civilians for failing to teach them lessons. He then raised his hand and announced that there will no longer be a stall fee. The civilians were surprised by the sudden announcement. They then suddenly cheered for Migo as he was the reason for it. Yuri admired her big brother for being strong, while Kai suddenly approached them happily. Migo bid his goodbye to him, reminding him not to forget to bring him to the Eclipse Arena. Kai smiled proudly while looking at them, wanting to be acknowledged by Migo. Meanwhile, at the Chin family mansion, the old man asked Yuna about their beast lesson today. It was Zhang, her father, asking if she got scared. Yuna did not admit that she got scared, as he will teach her a lesson again. She then added that the lesson only brought the lowest ranked beast. Her father smiled at her and praised her for being amazing. Yuna then noticed the time, prompting her to bid a goodbye to her father to study. Zhang suddenly called someone in a cloak named Qin. He ordered Qin to investigate how the hyena broke free from the class. Qin bowed and said that someone injected a berserk medicine to it. Zhang's eyes narrowed and asked who did it. Qin respectfully told him that they were still investigating, but the culprit left a clue. He then suspected that the culprit might be sending a threatening message to Zhang. The latter slammed his fist on the table. He then sneered and furiously the audacity to threaten him. He stood up and ordered Qin to investigate further to protect his daughter, in which Qin instantly followed. Zhang cupped his chin and thought about the berserk medicine. He looked out the window and pondered about the eclipse arena. Meanwhile, at the eclipse arena, an armored man was facing a beast. It was a one-horned ghost tiger, approaching towards him. The onlookers cheered loudly, urging them to fight quickly. Migo looked around as he already grasped what's inside the arena, while Kai smiled next to him. He then looked down, thinking that humans and beasts are enemies, but now it's just a leisure to them. The ghost tiger lunged forward, landing on the shield of the armored guy. The shield broke in an instant, and the man was sent flying to the arena's wall. The man landed lifelessly on the ground, as the ghost tiger roared in victory. Kai gritted his teeth in annoyance of being lost again. Migo suddenly asked him curiously if there are restrictions to enter the stage. Kai responded with a no and asked him why. Migo smiled and decided to go down and increase his chi. Before going, he ordered Kai to buy 10,000 silver coins and bet him to win. He then jumped inside the stage, causing Kai to panic. On the balcony of the VIP room, Yuna was watching in boredom as she lost again. Her dad told her that it's fine, adding that 1,000 silver coins is just a little. He dropped down his 100 gold coins and told Yuna to play. She then smiled and thanked her dad for it. Zhang originally planned to play on the stage, but Yuna insisted on coming over. He then asked about Migo, causing Yuna to be caught off guard. She twisted her hair and told her father that Migo helped her before. He then replied that he heard how low Migo's chi is. He offered to give Migo a stable job to not worry about anything. Zhang put down his coffee and stood tall while lecturing her daughter. He pats her head, telling that it is for her sake. Back to the stage, the onlookers were surprised upon witnessing the defeated ghost tiger. Migo stood tall in the midst of compliments while stepping on the beast. He smiled proudly as he finally became a martial artist. Yuna cheerfully called her daddy and pointed at Migo, who defeated the beast, while Zhang's jaw dropped in surprise. Yuna happily asked her dad if Migo has the ability of a martial artist. Zhang told her that the beast must have been exhausted. That's why Migo defeated it. Yuna crossed her arms and suspiciously asked her dad about his reaction to Migo. Her dad doubted that Migo cannot become a martial artist, while Yuna sulked on his pats. She then smiled and looked at Migo, telling that he is strong. The workers then dragged the fallen beast away from him. Migo smirked and asked if there were still stronger beasts. Meanwhile, a man was eating his meal. He was about to take a bite, but suddenly, his assistant called him Lord Theon and told about Migo. Theon wiped his lips and asked about the previous troublemaker. The assistant told him that it was torn apart. He then ordered her to quickly arrange everything. The assistant bowed down and instantly followed. Back at the stage, Kai cheered on Migo and told him how amazing he is. Migo then told him to pass it, but he was confused about it. He casually asked for money because he ordered him to bet 10,000 silver coins. Kai's face went purple and instantly panicked while telling him that he forgot. Migo, with deadly eyes, asked him to repeat one more time. Kai ran as fast as he could and told Migo that he would bet 20,000 on him. He then wiped his sweat, thinking how scary Migo is. A beast suddenly leapt in front of him. It was a soldier-ranked 2-star beast, a fox cat. Zhang watched from above while he couldn't believe that Migo would fight more. Yuna looked down worriedly, telling that she trusts Migo. In an instant, the beast was defeated to the ground. Yuna happily told her father that Migo won again. Zhang traced his chin, telling that the beast must have been looked up before. A bull gritted its teeth in rage, while Migo was facing it with determination. Zhang was confused why Migo hadn't stopped fighting. Yuna mocked her dad as he kept saying Migo would lose. He confidently told her not to worry because he wasn't wrong this time. Meanwhile, Migo sent the bull flying with a single punch. Yuna cheered on Migo as he won again, while Zhang's jaw dropped in disbelief. She then asked her dad mockingly while her dad stammered. Zhang's eyes widened, telling Yuna to look at Migo and the beast. Migo was now facing a soldier-ranked 6-star gorilla. Zhang got confused at the arena's plan, while Yuna worriedly leaned forward. She grabbed her dad, asking if he could save Migo. With teary eyes, she knew that veteran martial artists don't dare to provoke that kind of beast. Zhang hesitantly looked at her, He then agreed to save him because Migo saved Yuna before. He then called out someone on the side. He ordered the maid to inform Theon to stop the duel. He then added that Migo is his junior. The maid bowed down to follow and asked for a moment. While pouring the red wine, the assistant reported what Zhang had delivered to the maid. Theon looked at her, asking if Zhang came. He furiously said that Zhang didn't learn his lesson even after the hyena incident. His face became twisted, ordering his assistant to bring out the frog, while telling his assistant to reject Zhang's request. The assistant apologized to Zhang and told him the rules of the arena. She added that there were many people watching and Zhang couldn't interfere. The latter looks at his daughter, telling that he can't help. He grabbed her shoulder, revealing that Migo can only rely on himself. The assistant stepped forward as she was about to say something. With a twisted face, she delivered the message to Zhang, informing that it won't be a berserk hyena anymore. Zhang was surprised upon hearing it. He already expected that it was done by the second master, Edward. His brows furrowed, telling that he will make Edward pay. Yuna curiously asked her daddy what happened. Zhang forced a smile, telling that he's tired while thinking of ways to protect her. Meanwhile, Kai wanted to go all out and bet on Migo while his underlings stopped him. With gritted teeth, he told them that it is now or never. He then inserted the card while his underlings cried at the back. The onlookers thought that Kai had gone crazy. The gorilla furiously lunged towards Migo. It then tried to smash him, but he was quick to dodge. With a grin on its face, it followed up an attack which he dodged once again. The gorilla threw a punch, but Migo leapt forward to evade. He then created a distance between them. He wiped his lips, thinking that it would be hard for him not to use skills. The gorilla stood while Migo's hand glowed as he tried to use his skill. He smirked with a sword in his hand, eager to test his skill on the gorilla. The onlookers were certain that he wouldn't be matched to the gorilla, even if he had a weapon. They added that Migo should have left to not provoke the arena, but it's too late. Zhang tapped his daughter's shoulder, saying she shouldn't watch anymore. Yuna gritted her teeth, telling her father that she will save him. Zhang grabbed her wrist and stopped her. The gorilla roared menacingly. It then leapt above, ready to crush Migo while he was preparing his sword. The onlookers cheered for the gorilla to kill him. Kai gritted his teeth with a clenched fist, wishing for his boss to win. Yuna began crying as she tried to reach him, but her dad was restraining her. Zhang then covered her eyes with his hand. Lightning crackled on his sword as he activated his lightning sword slash and struck the gorilla before it landed. The gorilla growled in pain as Migo struck perfectly. The gorilla fell on the ground lifelessly, while Migo was standing unscathed. The onlookers were once again shocked by an instant kill, while others were amazed by it. Zhang was stunned as he couldn't believe it, while Yuna curiously asked him. She then smiled widely upon seeing Migo alright. She then asked her dad if someone helped Migo to kill the gorilla. Zhang answered firmly that no one helped Migo and he killed it all by himself, causing Yuna to exclaim in shock. A chief from the gorilla was now added to him, prompting him to smile victoriously. Kai and his underlings waved cheerfully, telling that they had become rich. They all laugh and dance in the middle, causing Migo to get embarrassed. At the Star Eclipse lobby, Kai and his underlings were at a reception. He mockingly asked the receptionist, telling that it's only him who won the bet. He then arrogantly told others that he felt bad, but then laughed with satisfaction afterwards. Migo was thinking that the money they have earned might improve their living conditions. Yuna caught his attention as she called his name. He curiously asked Yuna about being at the arena. Yuna told him that she was watching him from above. Migo smiled and thanked her in response. Yuna stood in embarrassment while Migo was wondering about her silence. Zhang suddenly called and told her that they were leaving. She turned her face and responded to her father. She then looked back at Migo and took a step forward. Her cheeks flushed and told him that she wanted to invite him to her birthday party. She looked up to him and asked if she could. Migo then told her that he will attend if there are no important things to do. She then smiled cheerfully, telling him that it is a promise. She then walked away while humming happily on her way. Migo looks at her curiously, thinking that she's in love with him. A frog suddenly jumps in front of Yuna, prompting her to stop in confusion. She curiously asked what a cute frog was doing there. Migo went alarmed as he recognized the thing. He quickly rushed towards her and told her to move back. The frog emitted a green energy as it ribbited. Migo clutched her on his chest, while a blinding light slowly engulfed them. The onlookers were shocked as the two succumbed to the light. Zhang shouted her daughter's name in worry, while Kai happily called out Migo but found no one. He then looked around for him curiously. The speaker suddenly made a noise, announcing an emergency report. It ordered everyone to evacuate as the traveling frog escaped from the prison. Meanwhile, inside the Twilight Forest, in an abandoned city, light flickers in front of it, and spat out the two of them with the frog. Migo gripped the traveling frog tightly. He angrily asked the frog where they got teleported. A loud roar caught their attention, prompting them to look back. A group of wolves suddenly emerged from the forest. Migo cursed in frustration as the moon wolves kept approaching. He deemed the situation bad as the wolves moved in groups. In an unknown forest, with a pack of wolves and a weak companion, he realized that he was in a worse situation. The moon wolves howled as they prepared to strike, while Migo grabbed a stone from the ground. With a serious tone, he ordered Yuna to run quickly on the count of 3, but he heard no answer and asked her. He gritted his teeth, confirming if she can hear him, but the wolves suddenly rushed forward to plunge and attack. He curses in frustration as it is too late and prepares himself to fight. He leapt forward, striking every moon wolf with a stone on his hand. He then landed perfectly on the ground as the wolves fell. He then found it strange that the moon wolves weren't aggressive. Yuna suddenly called him out, but he brushed it off. He proudly told her that he defeated all the moon wolves that attacked them. Yuna laughs at him, telling that the wolves' targets weren't them. She then showed him the moon wolf cub, telling that it's them. Migo looks in awe, realizing that it's their cubs. She walks towards them, telling him that she read the materials from school. Yuna returned the cubs and informed Migo that it is all they need to do. The moon wolves happily welcomed their cubs. Migo's expression dimmed as he regarded the beast as enemies. Looking at the wolves, he decided to attack them. He clenched his fist, readying himself to strike, when suddenly, Yuna showed him the cub and urged him to hug it. He was taken aback as he waved it off. Yuna forcefully passed the cub, prompting Migo to panic and scream. The sleeping cub was now in his hand, his cheeks flushed as he realized that it is indeed cute. Migo noticed that the beasts had emotions and family values. He looked at them, wondering if he would kill the beasts. The wolf offered them a dead rabbit. It then roared as if saying something. Yuna then told Migo that the wolves were showing kindness because they returned the cubs. Migo grabbed the rabbit and thanked the wolf while thinking that they had a sense of gratitude. The grass moves, prompting Migo to look back in alarm. It was a hunter, aiming the gun on them. Migo told everyone to watch out as he began to move. The wolf shielded him from the bullets, causing him to freeze in shock. It then landed lifelessly on the ground while the two stood in shock. Yuna reached out to the wolf as she couldn't believe it, but Migo rushed to her and embraced her to get down. The two of them landed on the ground as the bunch of flaming bullets surged from above. A massive explosion took place while the hunters continued firing. The moon wolves roared and protected the cubs. They then darted forward to attack a hunter, but the assassins showed up. They then slashed them violently and mocked them for acting arrogant while the wolves landed lifelessly. Yuna cupped her face and asked what's going on. They sneak and find out that the wolves were all dead, but the cubs were left unharmed. Yuna was shocked as she couldn't believe what she saw. The hunters took a step forward. They happily gathered all the loots and the cubs. Yuna's eyes became teary in anger as she cursed them. She was about to step out when Migo pulled her in. She then faced Migo and told him what they did, but Migo dismissed it while saying that humans and beasts are enemies. Yuna retaliated, saying that the moon wolves were being friendly to them. Migo looked down and told her that it's still a beast, and they were humans. Yuna was devastated but chose to cut herself off. Migo held her hand and decided to follow the hunters to find their way back. The bald hunter noticed the two of them and asked about their whereabouts. His underling then pointed to the two. Migo told them that they were from Martial Art Academy and got teleported accidentally. The hunters looked at them, repeating what Migo had said. The bald hunter's face became twisted, telling that the two are food in the wild. He then ordered his underlings to capture them alive. The hunters surrounded them while blatantly saying their fantasies on Yuna. The latter became scared and asked what they were trying to do. Migo's eyes sharpened as he warned the hunters not to do something stupid. The hunter lunged towards him with a rifle in his hand. Migo blocked it with one hand. He then looked at the hunter intently. The hunter's face became twisted in horror, while Migo drove a powerful punch on his face, sending him flying to the woods. Migo stood with a clenched fist, telling that he felt better now. He then dared the hunter to attack him. The bald hunter furiously ordered the others to attack him. The hunters readied their weapons. They then started firing and simultaneously attacking with daggers. Migo suddenly appeared in front of them and mocked them. Migo activated his shock lightning flash, leaving blue tendrils behind while sending the enemies away. The bald hunter's jaw dropped, witnessing how strong Migo is. The latter appeared in front of him, prompting the bald hunter to move back in shock. Migo firmly asked him why he attacked a student from the academy. The hunter gritted his teeth in rage, telling Migo that he has no rights to ask him. His fist suddenly engulfed with flame, aiming at Migo. The latter casually blocked his fist. He then revealed that the hunter violated the rules so he could kill him. The hunter tried to halt him, but Migo was unstoppable and kicked his face. The hunter was sent flying, while Migo followed up with another kick to his face. Migo then punched his stomach, eager to kill him. The hunter fell to the ground before him, He then told his commander Kyo won't spare Migo. The latter stepped on his head, while firmly saying that he will wait for him. Migo turned his face and asked if Yuna was alright while she affirmed. She worries about the cubs on her chest, prompting her to ask Migo if they could bring the cubs with them. Migo agreed and told her that he will just gather the loot from the hunters. He then began searching for the fallen hunters, when a crimson crystal fell from its pocket. He raised the crystal in awe, realizing it's chi crystals. Yuna then asked him what those crystals were. He responded that it can increase a martial artist's chi. He then called out Yuna and told her to leave as they began running. Meanwhile, the hunters were scattered through the forest. The hunter told their commander that the third team was nearby but couldn't find anything. Kyo told them that he had already seen the fallen hunters and ordered them to examine the corpse. The hunters followed him and began searching. Kian boredly asked his uncle when they were going to catch the star-patterned deer. He was taken aback when he saw the corpses on the ground. The hunters told Kyo that they didn't find any crystal. Kyo then apologized to Kian because he had to solve the matter first before catching the deer. His voice echoed inside the forest to catch the thieves. Under the dark sky, in an abandoned city, a shoe stepped on the flyer on the ground. The two of them were now walking in the middle of the city. Migo told Yuna that it was the Era commercial center that was previously bustling. He remembered the people when there were no beasts yet. Yuna catches up to Migo while saying that they should walk outside. Migo brushed it off, saying that they were not familiar with the forest. Yuna smiled warmly while holding the cubs on her chest. A loud roar suddenly echoed, prompting the two of them to look back in shock. Yuna worriedly asked Migo what they would do now. Migo responded that they will go over and familiarize the surroundings. Meanwhile, a girl was facing a massive beast. It was a soldier rank earth lizard, roaring before her. It then faced her and prepared itself. The girl, Rona, prepared her weapon to strike the beast. The two of them were watching from the cover while Yuna worried about the girl. She then asked Migo to save the girl, but Migo told her to go alone. Yuna pointed to herself, telling that she couldn't do it alone. Migo turned his gaze back and told her that it is the wild, not their city. Yuna looked down in disappointment, but Migo added that Rona doesn't need their help. Rona stepped forward while swinging her spear. Yuna looked at her in shock as Rona lunged towards the massive lizard. Its tail suddenly attacked her. It then dove away to evade its tail. She then aims her arrow towards the beast. Her flaming arrows hit directly towards the lizard's head. The earth lizard roared in pain, breaking the ground. Rona darted forward with a dagger, eager to kill the lizard. She then pierced directly through its head. She got up and wiped her cheeks. She then declares that the lizard was enough for her to eat for a few days. The two were still watching Rona while saying that she's strong. Migo observed her firmly, knowing that her skills are above normal. An arrow suddenly hit the debris in front of them, catching them off guard. Migo's eyes narrowed as Rona already discovered them. Rona aimed her arrows at them and ordered them to come out. Migo examined her while thinking that she's not normal. Yuna told Migo that she would go and negotiate because they were both girls. She raised the cub and transferred it to Migo, in which he affirmed in confusion. Yuna smiled warmly, thinking that she should do something useful for Migo. She cheerfully waved her hand at Rona and told her that they were from Sky City. Rona suddenly went alarmed. She deemed her dangerous and aimed her arrows at her. Yuna panicked upon seeing it. She nervously asked Rona why she was scared of her. Rona was pissed off and told her to shut up, leaving Yuna no choice. Migo stepped out and told Yuna to stop wasting her breath because Rona is part of an abandoned race. Yuna curiously asked him about it while he began telling what happened years ago. Migo told her that humanity built several cities and humans moved in. However, some humans failed to enter the federal city and thought that they were abandoned. Yuna asked him about it, telling that the government has the capability to save them. Migo revealed that the cities have no more spaces left for new ones. He continued that these people like Rona are now used to living in the wild. Yuna looked at her with worry, saying that they were pitiful. An arrow suddenly hit the ground, leaving Yuna in shock. Rona ordered them to leave right away, telling that the troglodyte is hers. Migo took a step forward. He explained that they are not interested in it and she has been poisoned by its blood. Rona firmly told him that she doesn't believe them. She once again aimed her arrows and told them that they were liars. Migo effortlessly evaded her blazing arrows, while telling her that it can't harm him at all. Rona raised her hand and told him not to get cocky. Green energy swirled around her as she activated her technique. A vine suddenly showed up from her arrows and started twining around his legs, catching Migo off guard, while Yuna worriedly told him to be careful. Rona leapt above him with her dagger, but Migo commanded her to fall. She then descended and fell sleeping on the ground. Migo awkwardly told her that she's poisoned while Yuna was confused. Yuna sneaks behind while asking him what's wrong, in which he tells her that Rona is poisoned. He checked Rona's forehead and told Yuna that he will help her. Migo thought of Rona's talent and was amazed by it. Yuna curiously asked him where they could find antidotes in the wild. He walked towards the lizard and revealed that it has detoxifying organs. Yuna was surprised because Migo knew so much. He then told her that it was because of his experience. He then showed her the detoxifying gland he found. He set it aside and looked around for other ingredients. He was able to find the ingredients, but Yuna told him not to give them directly to the girl. Migo suddenly activated a fire chain formula, causing Yuna to react in shock. A purple liquid suddenly forms on top of his palm. He smiled proudly, telling her that it was done while asking Yuna about what she said. Yuna then told her that it was nothing. She then curiously asked where Migo learned alchemy. Migo revealed that he had learned it from the books at home. He then went directly to Rona while Yuna was contemplating his answer. He then transferred the purple liquid on Rona's mouth. Rona slowly opened her eyes, asking where she was. The two looked at her and asked if she was okay. She was shocked seeing the two of them and decided to play pretend while Yuna asked if she fainted again. Migo told her that if she just continued to act, he would take the beast away. She then bit his arms, telling that it's hers. Migo shakes his arm while telling her to let go. She then landed on the ground and checked herself in surprise of being cured. She suddenly held Migo's hand, asking if he was a respected pharmacist. Migo admitted that he is indeed a pharmacist. Yuna asked Rona how they could leave the place. Rona told her that she can bring them out, but Migo needs to see her tribe first. Migo curiously asked why he needed to go. Rona was about to speak when she was suddenly cut off. Yuna and Rona were surprised as they heard a loud bang. The hunters surrounded the three of them, telling them that they weren't going anywhere. Kyo ordered Migo to hand over the crimson crystal while threatening him. Migo's eyes narrowed in confusion. He suddenly kicked the lizard towards them while telling him to shut up. The dead lizard flew above them, while Kyo ordered the hunters to fire. Their gun let out a blazing bullet, continuously firing at the earth lizard mid-air. Migo leapt above the lizard and aimed the arrows to them. Kyo was surprised by Migo's move, while the latter was eager to wipe them all out except one. He then let go of the arrow as the three of it surged forward. It then hit the hunters directly, causing them to wince in pain. He quickly appeared in front of the hunter. He then slashed him with a dagger. Kyo aimed his gun at him, but Migo instantly kicked his balls. Kyo's face turned purple as it became twisted in pain. The dead lizard landed on the ground. Migo grabbed Kyo while aiming his dagger and telling everyone not to move. The hunters shouted, asking him to let go of their boss. Migo then retaliated, ordering them to let go of Yuna and Rona first. The hunter smirked, saying that they captured two while Migo only had one. Yuna told Migo to not care about them, while Rona followed and ordered him to kill the hunters. Kyo warned Migo to surrender obediently. Migo suddenly kicked his legs, causing Kyo to wince in so much pain. Migo told him to order the hunters to let go of the two. Kyo turned his face in rage as he called him a bastard. He then ordered the hunters to break Yuna and Rona's legs. The hunter followed and raised his rifle, but Migo shouted that he would kill their boss if anyone got injured. The hunter halted, confused about what to do. Kyo told his underlings that Migo was just threatening them. Migo tightened the dagger and dared Kyo to try out. He smirked, saying that if Kyo loses, he will die. Kyo tried to find a hole while negotiating with him. Migo was pissed off, asking if he wanted to die immediately. Kyo then ordered the hunters to put their guns down. The hunters looked at each other hesitantly, prompting Kyo to shout desperately. The ground suddenly shakes, causing the hunters to panic. A massive fire lizard suddenly emerged from the ground, breaking it into pieces. They then recognized that it was a 9-star soldier rank fire lizard. Migo shouted when he saw Yuna flying mid-air. Amidst the debris, Yuna told him not to come, but he leapt above and tried to reach for her. He then held her wrist and carried her away from the massive beast. The two of them landed perfectly on the ground, but massive debris went in their direction. They were surprised when Rona passed through them and shielded the two of them from the massive debris. Migo suddenly rushed towards the falling Rona while calling her out. He caught her in his arms and asked if she was okay. Rona suddenly pushed him away and told him that she's fine. She turned her back, saying that she only repaid the kindness. The hunters fired their guns towards the massive lizard. Migo told himself that it was a 9-star beast and normal attacks won't affect. The fire lizard suddenly spit out a massive fire, causing the hunters to run for their lives. Migo carried both Yuna and Rona while leaping above to evade the fire. Migo told them that they can't handle it and they should run quickly. He then ran faster through the abandoned city, but the fire lizard followed the three of them. The two asked what's going on and why is the lizard following them. Migo revealed that the scent of the other lizard lingers on Rona because of detoxification. He then continued running while suspecting that the lizard was its offspring. Yuna's eyes widened, telling them that there's a cliff ahead. Her voice echoed, telling that there's no way out. Migo halted as they stopped at the edge of the cliff. Rona asked for a plan, but Migo told them to better die than all together. Yuna was in disbelief, hearing those words. While Rona asked what he was trying to do, Migo apologized and pushed Rona away. The latter asked if he was sacrificing her. She then screamed, thinking that people in the city are untrustworthy. Yuna suddenly shouted at Migo, asking what he was trying to do. Migo showed the blood on his hand. He then clenched his fist and explained to her that it has the strongest scent. He wiped it on his face, telling that the fire lizard's target was now him. Yen's eyes became teary while calling Migo out. He then pushed Yuna away too, sending her together with Rona while asking her to take care of Yuna. He then smiled at them, saying he should live well. He then jumped off the cliff, while the fire lizard followed him through it. As the lizard descended, Yuna reached out to Migo with tears in her eyes. Rona looks worriedly while thinking that she once again owes her life to him. Migo clenched his teeth, thinking that falling might leave him crippled as he could only use the skill from his previous life. He closed his eyes, thinking if the body could withstand it. He then stretched his arms and activated his leap skill, as red energy swirled in front of him. The energy vanished as he noticed that it was a bit challenging for him. His eyes widened, realizing that he would ruin his face if he won't use it. He once again tried to activate the leap skill. A red energy formed in front of him as he stretched out his hand. It once again disappeared, prompting him to scream as he descended below. A massive golden wing suddenly appeared. He then froze in awe with sweat on his face. His fingers were touching the ground as he realized that the skill works. He was confused upon seeing the system prompt's warning. It then deducted half of the chi he saved from defeating monsters. He examined the system, realizing that it had a self-rescue function but was expensive. Migo then looked above in alarm. The fire lizard then furiously descended from the cliff. He noticed that the place is an abandoned amusement park. He then decided to hide because he couldn't handle the fire lizard in his current state. The system prompt suddenly announced a special mission of killing the fire lizard. He realized that it was the first time the system had given him a rewarded mission, but he had to pass. He then leapt through the woods, leaving only a trail behind. The system then warned him that if it's not accepted, all his remaining chi will be deducted. He then stopped as he realized that zeroing out the chi means death. He gritted his teeth as he wanted to keep a low profile, but the system forced him to do the mission, prompting him to run back. He then faced the fire lizard with only one plan, that is to strike its weak point with a fatal blow. He then rushed forward, thinking that if he's in disadvantage, he will just throw his life away. The fire lizard opened its mouth widely, while Migo continued to run away from it. He then used his leap sky art and landed on the other side of the park while the fire lizard was left behind. He then knelt down as the red energy swirled around him. The fire lizard then followed him through the water, which is what he wanted. It then dived deep onto the water while Migo leapt above. The water started boiling, while the fire lizard was deep within and throwing out the water on its throat. The fire lizard managed to escape from the water while Migo was watching from above. He was thinking that only by its nostrils and brain can a fatal injury be inflicted. The fire lizard looked around as if finding him while he was above the Ferris wheel. He then jumps off the ride, aiming his spear towards the fire lizard. It then opened its mouth to prepare an attack towards him, but he landed just in time and pierced through its nostril while telling it to die. The fire lizard retaliated and cried out in pain. He then realized that his physical strength wasn't strong enough to pierce deep. The beast suddenly ran through the park with its mouth opened. Migo decided to activate his blood essence consumption as the red energy swirled around him. He then pushed through the spear as he aimed to break through. The fire lizard then hit its head to the rocky wall, trapping Migo in between. He wiped his lips while gritting his teeth, thinking that it was close. The system prompt appeared and congratulated him on defeating the beast. Red tendrils suddenly swirled around his body, making him confused. He then clenched his chest as if he was having a hard time. The system announced that the chi has reached its limit, and the remaining cannot be absorbed. He clenched his chest while supporting himself through the wall. The system asked if he wanted to go through body modification as it cannot withstand the essence. Migo decided to press the yes button. It then showed him to mark the enemy and obtain its flesh to increase the limit. He looked through it and realized that it's easy to become stronger. He was alarmed when the system told him that he should complete it within a day to avoid death. Migo was shocked, thinking that the punishment was death while he decided to carefully plan it. A sudden surge of pain hit his chest once again. He gasped for breath while thinking that it was uncomfortable. He then sat down and decided to use his skill to relieve the pain. Meanwhile, inside the forest lies an army camp. The soldiers captured the hunters. One of them retaliated while asking who gave them the right to capture them. The soldier pointed his gun at him, asking why they were sneaking at the military base. Someone suddenly showed up and told the soldier to put their guns down. He then grabbed the hostage's shoulder and promised to let them go if they are not spies. The man named Bruno smiled, telling them that they have to question them. The other hostages nodded their heads when their leader looked at them. He then agreed and asked what they had to do. Bruno told them that they had a mine and asked for help. The leader raised his tied hand and asked for it. Bruno ordered the soldiers to untie the hunters. The two hunters lie at the top of the tree while observing the military. The guy told his daughter to hurry back and call for help. His daughter then followed her dad's order. The daughter then leapt through the trees and hurried back home. Meanwhile, a beast was pierced through its body. Migo stood before the defeated beast while deciding to get a weapon first. He then threw the stick and walked through the forest. The system prompt appeared and offered a navigation service. Migo didn't admit that he was lost, but the system asked him once again, prompting him to agree. A golden light suddenly emerged. A chick suddenly came out from it and landed on Migo's head. The chick pointed forward and told Migo that there is a strong enemy there. Migo looked at the chick in disbelief. He then walked forward and followed the chick. Meanwhile, the hunters were sent to the pit using a rope. As they landed inside the pit, Bruno tossed the two bags and asked them to fill it up. One of them angrily asked why Bruno won't come down if it is not difficult. Their leader asked if they hadn't smelled the blood, telling them that it's not simple. They then gathered in the middle while being alert to their surroundings. They prepared their weapons and readied themselves. The hunters entered through the dark cavern. While the soldiers praised Bruno for convincing the hunters to come down, Bruno smirked widely, arrogantly telling them to learn from him. The hunters continued to walk through it, while their leader sensed that something was wrong. Something suddenly struck their comrade's foot. He then shouted in pain, while the others looked in horror. They instantly joined their comrade and asked what happened. Dark tendrils suddenly surged forward, then swiftly strike the other hunters. The hunters looked around, but the tendrils were quick enough to hit and strike. They all shouted in pain as the tendrils cut through their limbs. They then panicked and wondered what they had to do. Their member told them that he will start collecting ore and asked for assistance. The other one realized that the soldiers only brought them to be food for the beast. They gathered together, unaware that the beast was above them. Meanwhile, Migo asked the chick if she hadn't found it yet. From above the tree, he then observed the military barracks. The chick complained and told him not to call her that. The system announced that the target is 500 meters away and the navigation mission is over. Migo complained to the prompt and asked it to be specific. The chick slowly faded, but still not on good terms with Migo. The latter thought about the beast being inside the barracks. The barracks were now filled with laughter. The soldiers looked down on the pit and announced that it had begun. The hunters were now filled with bruises as they cannot retaliate. A monstrous mouth lined with countless sharp teeth opens wide. The hunters looked in horror as it grabbed their comrade. The hunters were eaten alive while the others ran away from the scene. The last one looked back, hearing the cry of his comrades. The hunter looked around, but was also captured by the monster. Migo then realized that the monster was inside the pit, and the soldiers were feeding humans to it. The soldiers laugh at their despair while they gamble for their lives. A soldier suddenly asked them why they keep feeding people onto the beast. Bruno assumed that the soldier was new and asked if he knew about the alchemy. The soldier responded and told him what it was. Bruno grabbed his shoulder and told that an alchemist isn't simple. His eyes glowed and revealed that they make a lot of money on crimson crystal. The soldiers were surprised that crimson crystals can actually be refined. Crimson crystals are precious, while Raven obtained a method to refine them. With a twisted face, Bruno revealed that the most important material is human flesh. The soldiers happily said that they can refine a lot of crystals, but Bruno said that it wasn't simple. An arrow suddenly surged forward. It then hit the soldier directly on its throat. They were all shocked as the soldier fell into the pit. Bruno ordered them to crawl down because of an ambush. A bunch of arrows hit each of the soldiers, causing them to wince in pain. The other soldiers then rushed and decided to fight back. They suddenly fired a gun, followed by multiple other soldiers. Amidst the blazing bullets, a man hit at the back of the wooden pillar. The man named Ryu then once again aimed his arrow and fired it towards the soldiers. Multiple arrows surged from the sky, catching Bruno off guard while the other soldier falls. A rain of arrows hit each soldier while Bruno crawled to escape. The soldiers that fell off the pit cried for help as the beast caught them. With a blazing arrow, Ryu aimed it directly in front of him while others covered for him. The blazing arrow hits the tanks, causing a massive explosion around the area. A robotic hand wiped off the cloth, its massive foot stomped to the ground. The hunters were taken aback and asked what it was. It was a robot named 09 with Bruno driving on it. He then shouted in rage and vowed to kill the hunters. He fired the machine, creating a massive explosion and sending the hunters away. Rona raised his hand, preparing to unleash his vine bind skill. Vines began protruding from the ground, coiling around Mecha. The others wasted no time and fired their arrows, but it's not working. Bruno grinned, confident that they could never destroy his robot. The mecha effortlessly ripped the vines entangled on its arms. It continued moving to pull and tear the vines from its limbs. He yelled, deeming it's time to show what he's really capable of. The mecha began showering them with countless bullets, sending everyone into panic as the chaos ensued. Rona couldn't believe what she was seeing. She couldn't help but curse as she swore to kill him. But then, a voice was heard volunteering as he patted her shoulder. It was Migo, fearlessly stepping forward and leaving Rona shocked. His steps were determined, charging towards the mecha bot. Bruno saw him, but he made the mistake of thinking he was another cannon fodder. He turned the mecha bot against Migo and showered him with bullets. But his bullets were rendered useless by Migo's speed, dashing from side to side. This is when he finally realized that he's up against a martial artist. Ryu was confused, but saw the chance given by Migo's help. He immediately raised his bow, imbuing the arrow with wind attribute. He then shot the arrow towards Bruno, who was preoccupied with Migo's appearance. Bruno was utterly surprised to see his defensive glass shattered. He furiously turned around, vowing to kill the annoying trash who did it. But this gave Migo the perfect chance to lunge forward. His feet exploded with powerful fiery energy as he activated leap technique, propelling him into the air while he brandished his spear against Bruno. His spear pierced through the defensive glass, impaling Bruno from behind. In his dying breath, he could only curse at them in frustration. Migo landed on the ground flashily upon delivering the decisive blow. Like an action movie protagonist, he turned his back and let the explosion ensue. The crowd erupted into cheers as they realized that they had won. Rona praised Migo for the amazing performance he had just shown. Ryu expressed gratitude, while Rona followed up that Migo saved her from the fire dragon. Hearing this, he couldn't even begin to express how thankful he is. Migo only flashed a gentle smile, saying it was no big deal. He then asked them if they knew where the underground cave in the camp was, to which the dad pointed it out, and revealed that their people were locked in there. Peeking at the pit, Migo stated that the hole was used to feed beasts. He volunteered to go down since it will be dangerous for them. But the dad couldn't ever let themselves trouble Migo for their clan's matter. In response, he asked them if they have experience fighting beasts in the dark. The warriors looked at each other, hesitant to reply. Ryu explained that they usually do not fight beasts in the dark. Hearing this, Migo explained that it would be dangerous for them and asked to let him do it. Ryu was still hesitant and tried to stop him from going in. Migo assured them there's nothing to worry about and borrowed his sword. Inside the dark tunnel, gusts of wind are blowing really hard, but they weren't enough to blow away the fire from Migo's torch. Holding the sword he borrowed, he thought it had been a long time since he wielded one. A gravely injured man was coughing as he pointed towards the iron door. It was a dying captive, leaving his last words, wishing for them to be avenged. After saying those words, he finally fell lifeless within Migo's arms. He carefully placed his body down on the ground and closed his eyes. He pulled the sword he stuck on the ground. He was burning with cold and silent rage as he looked forward. He stood in front of the iron door, preparing to barge in. He ferociously knocked, banging his fist against the iron door. A man inside peeked, asking for him to give the access code. With a fierce expression, he gave the code, die. The man snapped the peeker shut, threatening to feed him to the sandworm. But his patience was running thin and raised his right foot, angrily kicking the iron door with all his might. The man felt the kick, but is confident that Migo can never destroy the door. However, the stone wall above the door began cracking, leaking with dust. Only then did the man realize how foolish he was, but it was already too late. Migo brought the door down, crushing the man underneath its weight. Migo walked over the iron door, not minding the man's body trapped beneath. He looked around, scanning the filthy place as he remained silent. The system then warned him of the presence of a suitable target ahead. With this, he speculated that the target beast is inside. He continued making his way forward, entering the hidden laboratory with strange machines and devices inside. It turns out that this was a facility for nurturing sandworms. He couldn't feel anyone, not even a beast's aura. But it was his mistake for letting his guard down. The enemy had completely sneaked behind him. It was enraged for having his experiments disturbed and stabbed Migo. The latter was utterly surprised and gritted his teeth. Fortunately, he was fast enough to react and dodged instantly. He didn't even sense his presence at all, making him conclude this enemy isn't simple. Migo noticed that his wound was just a strange illusion. The system then warned him of the appearance of the target, the rank 2 martial artist and alchemist named Raven. Migo was surprised to see that his target is not a high-ranked beast, but a human. Raven wondered how he got in, seeing that he's not his underling. Migo sarcastically replied that he used his legs to walk in there. Raven was then surprised upon noticing something. He trembled in uncontrollable rage, exploding in fury as he realized that Migo killed all his precious babies. He fell to his knees, slowly driving into insanity. Migo can feel how strong the target really is, feeling a beast aura in him. He began exuding his ominous energy, enraged that his efforts were wasted. He activated his skill, Dark Night Star Territory, and unleashed dark energy. Migo realized that it is territory skill capable of completely robbing one's vision. The most troublesome thing when facing a martial artist is dealing with their skills. Raven completely snuck behind Migo once again, who was still oblivious. He raised his dagger imbued with ominous energy. He was about to stab him when Migo suddenly turned around and slashed away. Migo remarked on how Raven removed his aura and sound. Though he was able to react, the dagger remained piercing his back. Raven threatened him that he'll die within 12 more attacks. Meanwhile, Migo finds this territory skill annoying and gritted his teeth. The system then reminded him that marking the target will lock him within his vision, but 24 hours upon marking, failure to kill the target will result in death. Raven continued on the offensive, while Migo tried to evade. However, the third attack managed to connect directly to his chest. He resolved to treat him as a beast and hunt him. Today, he's sure that one of them will die in this battle. He then commanded the system to mark Raven. Out of thin air, sharp fangs were conjured as if ready to devour anyone. The fangs began streaking through the air, as if searching for the target. It managed to make its way into Raven's back and bit it, marking him. Raven was confused, wondering what happened and why he's having a bad feeling, but he dismissed it and turned to Migo, who still seemed oblivious. His mask couldn't hide his evil expression as he planned to feed Migo to his babies. He then charged forward, aiming to land an attack on his back, but Migo already saw it coming and ducked down to evade. He then quickly unleashed a counterstrike, his sword slicing through the air. Raven was utterly surprised. He was caught off guard as he never saw it coming. Migo's merciless blade tore upward, slicing through Raven in a vertical manner. But good for Raven, he managed to teleport in time and dodge. He was so confused, asking him how he knew where he was. But Migo refused to answer and just called him a coward. This only made Raven delighted, finding the situation amusing and interesting. His face turned into a vicious expression, declaring Migo a valuable material. He scratched his head, contemplating what to do in this situation. He then snapped his fingers as he finally came up with an answer. He told him to kneel and beg so he would give him a chance to become rich with him. But Migo had a counteroffer. Raven should kneel and beg so he'd give him a painless death. Hearing this, he chuckled as he found his words interesting. He never had someone who was not afraid of him before. He assumed his fighting stance, ready to pounce against Migo. He thrusted forward in an instantaneous burst of energy, aiming at Migo's head. The latter managed to parry the attack with a swing of his sword. The two of them engaged in a fierce battle as they exchanged deadly slashes. Raven showered him with a barrage of purple energy while the latter defended. He was even surprised that Migo could predict all his attacks. He wondered if these are the skills that a rank 1 martial artist should have. As they went on, Migo finally saw an opening between his defenses. He wasted no time and immediately went in for the kill, aiming at his body. His sword cut through a blue arc, tearing through Raven in a vertical manner. Migo's attack finally grazed Raven, who leaned back in an attempt to evade. He then withdrew quite a distance, away from Migo. He was utterly surprised that he managed to keep up with his speed. On top of that, he can also feel a scary pressure from his body. Migo threw a cold glare at him and asked if he was being scared. He stood firm, planting his foot steady on the floor. This is when Raven began feeling a sense of dread and anxiety within him. He was sweating at the thought that he might actually die in the hands of his rank 1 trash. Migo waited no more and brandished his sword against Raven, who was standing in denial that this situation could ever be possible. He hurled a sphere of condensed dark lightning toward Migo, but he effortlessly cut it down with just one swing of his sword. A powerful purple explosion ensued, unleashing blinding rays of purple light. Migo realized his mistake of allowing Raven to hide from plain sight. He didn't realize that within that short time, Raven already managed to attack. He gritted his teeth, shocked to see 2 blades lunged in his chest. Raven streaked past him, recounting that there are only 7 attacks left. Migo turned back, declaring it was enough time for him to kill Raven, but the latter's hands were then covered in crimson energy, gradually rising to engulf his whole body in a strange crimson armor. Migo stood unwavering, remarking on his peculiar appearance. He wasted no time and immediately charged forward, unleashing a powerful sword slash against him. But he was surprised to see the strange properties of his crimson armor. He was shocked after finding that his attacks don't work on his defenses now. To make things worse, his sword was even stuck and entangled within the armor. Raven unleashed an attack, while he blocked it with his bare arms. He followed up with a counterattack and unleashed his chi energy burst. Migo thrust his sword against him. Raven mocked him and told him that he can't cut through his armor even with sword chi. He then readied his weapon, informing Migo that 6 more hits and he will die. Migo realized that the shadow dagger is absorbing his chi and energy. He looked at him, thinking that Raven trusted his bone armor too much. With resolve, he decided to cut through his armor and take the win. In his previous life, he swung countless times against the sun to achieve a supreme state of swordsmanship. He faced the sun as he wanted to cut through the fastest light in the world. In the end, Migo failed to succeed. He leapt above and cut through the light with ultima force. He failed, but he was able to cut the sun into 8 pieces. Meanwhile, a blinding golden slash struck through Raven's body. The latter descended downward while the smoke rose from his body. He then knelt down on the floor, gasping for breath. Raven sneered in pain while still having consciousness. Migo stood before him, thinking that he couldn't kill him with one blow even after using a skill. Raven's brows furrowed and asked why Migo had such sword technique. The system prompt asked Migo if he wanted to devour the opponent. Migo was confused as the system wants him to devour a human. Raven gritted his teeth as he couldn't accept that he lost to a rank 1. Migo asks why Raven used humans to feed the beast while they have no enmity for him. Raven grinned widely, saying that humans have no value for him too. With a twisted face, he proudly admitted that he turned the humans into valuable crystals. Migo's eyes narrowed and told him that he had no rights to judge other people's values. Raven smirked, saying that the strong can do anything they desire to the weak ones. He recalled being attacked by a beast made him realize that it's a sin to be a weakling. He told him that the trash can't resist being trampled by strong ones. With a crazed grin, he declared that the strong became stronger by devouring weak ones. Migo revealed that he is killing him for being evil and not because he is weak. Raven looked at him while mocking that Migo was doing it for justice. He pointed at him and asked his rights to judge his sins. The system announced that he obtained a skill, Revenge Hand, that can crush all types of defense. Migo also obtained a skill to generate crimson crystals. Migo caressed his chin while thinking about the skills he obtained after devouring Raven. His eyes sparkled, thinking that he could earn a lot of money. A figure of his sister selling skewers appeared in his mind. He smiled at the thought that he doesn't have to worry anymore. The system announced that Chi Mail is now unlocked. Migo raised his hand and bound his revenge blade. The system then showed the revenge blade's attributes and its origin. Migo thought of not using it often because it is a cursed weapon. He then opened a note and found out that it is an experimental book. Outside the military barracks, a bunch of fallen hunters were now covered. Rona was crying while looking at them silently, while the others also began crying for their comrades. Migo looked down and apologized for failing to save him. Ryu pats his shoulder, telling him that he already had done so much. He then ordered everyone to bring the useful loot and bomb the entire barracks. They then threw fires on the pit and burned down the military barracks. Outside the barracks, the hunters then walked away together with Migo and Rona. Migo turned his gaze at Ryu and told that they are no longer safe to stay there. Ryu thought of it and told him that he will find a new place for them. Meanwhile, inside the abandoned city, the civilians were happily enjoying their time. They then cheerfully welcomed the hunters. Yuna stood with a smile, recognizing Migo from a distance. She then rushed forward cheerfully, relieved that Migo was alright. Migo cupped her face and told her that rushing too fast is dangerous. Yuna awkwardly apologized and said that she was just too excited. Migo pats her head and assures her while informing that they can go home anytime now. Rona interrupted the two of them and asked if they were a couple. Meanwhile, Migo told Rona to watch. A crab beast was surprised by them. Migo raised his hand and activated his revenge hand. A massive hand loomed over the crab. Migo then clenched his fist with force. The massive hand also clenched its fist and crushed the poor crab. Rona's jaw dropped while cupping her head in shock. Migo catches the flesh of the crab, telling Rona that they can go back now for her mother's medicine.